Baik, selamat malam waktu Jakarta and good morning Canada time. Terima kasih kepada teman-teman semua yang telah hadir join kembali pada webinar series Salak Education Consulting, salah satu agen pendidikan yang membantu siswa Indonesia untuk studi di Kanada dan memiliki pengalaman lebih dari 20 tahun. Bekerja sama dengan Apply Board untuk mengadakan College and University Fair, webinar Salak Education pada hari ini Sabtu 19 Maret 2022 dengan tema Find the Best School in Canada. Mengundang representatif dari University of Manitoba, Kanada, yang tentu saja akan memberikan informasi mengenai program studi, pendaftaran, hingga students life. Sebelumnya perkenalkan dulu, jadi kembali lagi dengan saya Tasya yang akan memandu webinar hari ini, diwakili oleh Miss Carrie Gregoire, Lead Students Recruitment Officer, Southeast Asia, University of Manitoba, Kanada. Halo Miss Carrie, how are you doing?
Very well today. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Miss Carrie. So, tidak lupa juga kami ingin berterima kasih kepada Apply Board yang diwakili oleh Miss Tracy. We also would like to appreciate for the support from Apply Board. Miss Tracy, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm good. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I hope that you guys will have great Saturday. So we hope that today's section will give you a lot of useful and to help you to make informed decision. And University of Manitoba will be one of the good choice for you. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Tracy. Mengundang juga senior konsultan kami, Pak Wahyu. Halo, selamat malam, Pak Wahyu.
Halo, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Wahyu. Jadi ini teman-teman sedikit penjelasan mengenai University of Manitoba. Lokasinya ini di Winnipeg, jadi tengah-tengahnya island-nya Kanada gitu ya. Jadi kayak pertengahannya di secara negara Kanadanya. Winnipeg sendiri ibu kota provinsi dari Manitoba dan setiap tahunnya selalu ada siswa Indonesia yang studi di UFM. Tahun 2021 lalu satu siswa Indonesia yang kami bantu nih, Salak Education bantu untuk studi di UFM juga ada nih tahun 2021 lalu. Salah satu kampus juga ini yang menyediakan banyak program studi dengan program co-op atau magangnya, dan ini adalah sebuah kesempatan yang sangat baik bagi siswa untuk memperluas network dan tentu saja untuk mendapatkan pengalaman bekerja sebelum lulus kuliah. So, without any further ado, please welcome Miss Carrie and the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I really appreciate everyone spending some time with us today. I know it's your Saturday night. It's early morning here. Well, not that early. We were already up and getting breakfast on the table with the kids, but I'm very fortunate. It's a beautiful sunny day here today in Manitoba, which is good. We've had some cold days this winter. It's been probably one of the coldest winters that we've had in some time. So we're excited to see the progress and moving towards springtime here. We've had fun with the snow and the cold, but I think we've all felt like we're ready for the flowers and the greenery to come back. So looking forward to a nice warm and sunny summer here. So again, thank you for your time. I graduated from the University of Manitoba a number of years ago. I've worked at the University of Manitoba in a number of different capacities. So the University of Manitoba is very close to my heart, and I really do love being able to share a little bit about it with folks like you. And I do like to even be able to spend some time addressing any specific questions that you have, either about my experience, about your potential future at the University of Manitoba. So thank you. I always like to begin by talking about where we're located. And we're very centrally located in the heart of Canada. The campus is in the south central region of the city of Winnipeg, the capital city of Manitoba. You can see in the dot in the center of the screen there. And we're really a logistics hub. We're very accessible to some other major international center ports. We're about a 2.5-hour flight to Vancouver, a 2-hour flight to Toronto, and we're just a 2-hour car ride to the US border. So we're quite accessible. We offer many of the wonderful opportunities of Canadian living, strong Canadian education, while having some different features here in Manitoba. So we'll talk about that today. We've recently actually been named one of Canada's best communities by Maclean's, and I think a lot of that has to do with we're a very strong and dynamic city and province. We have tons of green space, both urban inside the city as well as just outside of the city. We're about a medium-sized city here in Winnipeg, just over 800,000 people living in the city of Winnipeg. In fact, I live just outside of the city of Winnipeg. I live in a small town that I grew up in, but I commute in and out of the city, and my commute just to campus alone is only 22 minutes long. So that just gives some perspective about some access and being able to move around and see nature and take advantage of some of the really unique things that are happening, culturally here in Manitoba. We have lots of festivities, so lots of opportunities for you, for your students to participate in cultural events. We have something called Folklorama. It takes place each year, where it's a festival of basically our diversity. It celebrates our diversity here in Manitoba. And, representatives from all the places around the world put on meals and entertainment and song and dance, celebrating their culture. So, we have an Indonesian pavilion each year, and it's just wonderful for our folks living here in Winnipeg and Manitoba to be able to embrace their culture as well as show it off to people both from Winnipeg and the people that come from all over the place. We're very dynamic and multicultural. We're quite blessed through our Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program that allows graduates from the University of Manitoba to really fast track that immigration policy. So there is an opportunity for you to stay and live in Manitoba after you graduate, if that's something that you're interested in doing. And it really does help to build that multiculturalism and diversity here that makes us so special. We're also a real strong hub for lots of different industries. So we have a really stable economy here in Winnipeg, and that has to do with the fact that we rely on several different economies. We have a very strong agriculture, very strong in tech, aerospace design here in Winnipeg, as well as logistics. In particular, throughout the pandemic, we've seen a huge spike and increase in demand, of course, for goods and food. And so we've really played a key part in access for all of Canada. So that's been really great. All of this while still being the number one most cost competitive city in all of Western Canada. So you can expect, as I mentioned earlier, opportunities for a fabulous education, for a very unique and special experience, while being an affordable option. So you can see the average room rental in Toronto is significantly higher than the average rent here in Winnipeg, and even similar sized cities like Ottawa, Calgary, more comparable in terms of the size and scope to Winnipeg, tend to be the higher end than Winnipeg as well. So now let's talk about our beautiful and historic campus. We've been around for over 140 years. We are actually the oldest university in Western Canada. We are the largest post-secondary institution in the region, and really the only one that offers that the full scope. So we are a medical doctoral university. We offer a wide range of health sciences and medical programs, as well as research at throughout all avenues and subject areas at the University of Manitoba. So I always like looking at this picture of our campus. We have a very large traditional walking campus at the University of Manitoba. When I say walking campus, I just mean that you can get around to all of our buildings on campus by foot. You won't be interrupted by any busy downtown streets. We are located in a suburb. So you can see we're surrounded by the beautiful University Heights, which is a residential area that's very strongly connected to the University of Manitoba. It's a really, safe and secure place as well. All of the buildings that you see here are part of the university campus, and many of them are connected by underground tunnel, which is quite convenient. It's a nice, convenient way to get around campus, especially in the winter months when it gets cold. But it's important to recognize that our buildings are all in Winnipeg and in Canada, our buildings are all centrally heated and centrally cooled in the summer to keep folks comfortable as well. So Everything that you see here, we're surrounded by the beautiful Red River, all part of that university campus. And students tend to find hubs on campus. So there's lots of different studying spaces. There's lots of places to get food. We have 6 on-campus residence facilities for you to choose from as well. We are fortunate to be a member of the U15, that's Canada's top 15 research intensive universities. So rest assured, the education that you're getting here at the University of Manitoba will benefit you not only here in Manitoba, but it will take you around the world. And you can certainly be involved at all levels of your university experience in some of the really fascinating and special groundbreaking research that's happening and really affecting the whole world. I always like to talk about some of our work integrated learning programs as an opportunity for you to grow and develop your resume while being a university student. So whether that be through some programs have a integrated practicum, certainly volunteer opportunities are abundant around the university. Research is available. Students can get research and earn credit towards their degree. You can also actually get some part-time employment opportunities through some of the research that's happening as well. So being able to work directly hands-on with your professors who are, really diving into their field of study is a really great way for you to build those skills and build those connections and the research skills. We also offer co-op education in 40 of our undergraduate programs. So co-op education is a paid work experience. Paid work experience gives you that opportunity to earn some income while completing your degree, and it also gives you that opportunity to, of course, build those skills, but really network in the community and the industries that you're planning on working in once you graduate. So through our co-op program, you would actually do 3 work terms. So you would work with 3 different agencies throughout that time. Now, co-op isn't something that you have to apply for before you start your studies at the university. That's something that you'll do in your last 2 years of university. But I do like to highlight it as an opportunity for you to be thinking about while you're getting started, so that in your second year of university that you're going to want to go and seek out those opportunities for that co-op education, because it really is a great way for you to network and build those skills and get that real Canadian working experience before you graduate. And of course, living on campus is an option, but it's not required at the University of Manitoba. If it's your first year and you don't have friends or family already live in Winnipeg, I always recommend on-campus living, in particular for your first year, as a great way to have a convenient a place to live, but also a great place to meet other students as soon as you arrive on campus. We also do offer a homestay program. So that's an opportunity for you to live with a Canadian host family as well. In addition to the work integrated learning I mentioned earlier, there's just so many ways for you to get involved. And the advice that I always get from current students is to just don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. You will find that folks in Winnipeg and at the University of Manitoba are so friendly, and they want to help welcome you into their organizations and their activities. So whether that be starting out with joining the Indonesian Student Association as getting your feet wet, but then you might want to expand and join some of the over 200 different interest-based clubs and opportunities for you to get involved with. So don't be shy and put yourself out there and get involved. And stay active. There's lots of different places and spaces at the University of Manitoba for you to continue being active, to take care of yourself. It's a great way for you to take a break from your studies and keep fit. We also do like to just feature the fact that there is an opportunity for you to do some additional study abroad at the University of Manitoba through our exchange programs. So we do have sister universities around the world that do offer the opportunity for you to study for 4-month term at one of our partner institutions while continuing to earn your University of Manitoba degree. So it doesn't add any extra time to your degree. In fact, you earn credits towards your UM degree and you pay University of Manitoba tuition fees, which is a great feature and benefit as well to further internationalize your experience. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the academic programs, which is probably one of the most important things that you're looking for here today. So just understanding that we have a wide breadth of programs here at the University of Manitoba, over 100 accredited and internationally recognized undergraduate programs of study. So I share this picture. I know it's probably small and hard for you to look at. Some of you might even be looking on a tablet or on a phone. So don't worry. I can provide you with the links of information of where you can actually go and get more details about each of these programs. But I do like to show this, not to scare you off, but just to show you that we do have lots of different program options for you to choose from. Everything from agriculture, humanities and social sciences, business programs, and a very, very large program within our Faculty of Science as well. Something to note when you apply to the University of Manitoba is you might be thinking about studying computer science or mathematics. Well, you actually apply towards the Faculty of Science when you apply to the University of Manitoba, and the requirements are for the entire faculty. And then you'll actually select and declare your major within that subject area after your first year of study. So if you're interested in a program within science, you'd be applying to science. If you're interested in, marketing or management, then you'd be applying to the Asper School of Business. A couple important pieces of information to note. Some of our programs do require at least 1 year of university experience before you can apply into them. So programs like architecture, education, law, if you're planning to practice law in Canada, that's an option for you to go into law school here at the University of Manitoba, nursing as well as social work. So each of those programs do require you to start your university studies in one of our other programs initially, get some university experience first, and then you can apply into one of these particular programs. Aside from these programs, most of our other programs do offer that opportunity for you to apply and go directly into from high school. So agricultural and food sciences, arts, the School of Art, which is graphic design, creative, painting, drawing, business, engineering, environment, earth and resources, kinesiology and recreation management, interdisciplinary health, music science, and then our feature first year program called University One. So let's just take a quick moment to talk a little bit about University One. University One is our most popular first year program. It's a flexible program that allows you to take courses in different subject areas before you apply and devote your time to one particular area. So it allows you some flexibility. I know when I first started university, I had a pretty good idea about what I wanted to do. But I found when I got to university, I started taking some different courses. And I found that what I thought I was interested in really started to change, because some of the other courses that I was taking, just that were electives, I really enjoyed them and I really did well in them. I did better in those courses than the ones that I, was planning my future in. And University One really allowed me some flexibility to take different courses and to explore my interests. And it didn't add any extra time or cost to my degree. All of the courses that I took in my first year really worked towards the degree that I ultimately ended up completing. So just something to keep in mind. This is an option, either if you're thinking about different subject areas or you're not quite sure how to kind of choose where you want to ultimately study, that University One is a good option for you. The other feature of University One is that it does have lower admission requirements than some of our other programs. So perhaps you're interested in one of our programs that does offer this route into direct entry, but maybe you don't have the courses that are needed to get admission into those programs, or maybe you don't have the competitive grades that are needed. Then starting in University One is a good option for you to begin your studies. Regardless of where you begin your studies, University One or directly into your program of choice. It acts as year one of your 4-year degree. So lots of different kind of options. We can talk a little bit about your particular scenario maybe at the end of the presentation to see if there's any one right fit for you, because again, there's a little bit of something different for everyone, which is what makes university so special. So just in terms of our application timeline each year, our applications generally open up in October. And then our deadline to apply for most of our programs is March 1st. So for those of you who are thinking about starting your studies this fall, we will still accept some applications to University One, but all of our other programs at this point of the year have already closed. For those of you who are preparing for your final year of high school, this is a good time for you to prepare for this next year, because applications will open up in October and get ready for the fall 2023. Generally, we will encourage students to first apply for admission. So, declare where you want to ultimately study, whether that be in science or arts or business, engineering, or University One. So you would apply for those particular programs. Once you apply for admission, then you would submit your documentation. And of course, your counselor is going to help you through this process. So don't feel like you have to know it all on your own. You're going to work with your counselor to help you through that final process. And then, of course, we will, for those of you who are graduating in the time of the application, then we would be looking for those final documentation, of course, later in the school year. We do feature 3 flexible intakes per year. So most students begin their studies in our traditional intake, which is September, our fall term. But we do have a winter intake, which begins in January, and a summer intake, which begins in May. So it does allow you some flexibility depending on where you're at in your cycle. In terms of our requirements for admission to the University of Manitoba, for those of you graduating from high school, we are looking for at least 5 full credits at the senior level, which is, I know, no trouble for those of you graduating from a high school in Indonesia. If anyone is completing the General Certificate of Education, we're looking for at least 2 A-level courses, and we'll take some O-levels. And then, of course, we do accept transfer. So if you're completing sometime at another recognized post-secondary, then we will accept you to the University of Manitoba based on your university performance as well. Now we're going to look at some examples of our admission requirements for those of you coming from high school. So one example is our University One program. We are looking for a minimum equivalent average of a 70 over your senior level courses. So we're not looking at your grade 11 results, we're looking at your grade 12 results. And we're looking at your English, your mathematics, and then any other 2 academic courses. So if you have that minimum 70% average, equivalent 70% average over those courses, then you'll be admissible into University One. Another example is a specific program that has a higher grade requirement and very specific courses that they're looking at. So engineering, for example, is looking for an equivalent average of 85% over your senior level, your grade 12 English, mathematics, chemistry, and physics. So keep in mind when you're thinking about engineering or you're thinking about one of the other programs that offers that direct entry route, that you'll want to look at those program-specific admission requirements just to make sure that you have the courses and the grades that they're looking for. A program like University One that we just talked about is open. That means that if you meet the requirements, you will automatically be offered a spot. Science is also open, and arts, and a few other programs. Some programs that do have limited capacity, like engineering and business, there's only so many seats available in those programs. And so even if you meet that 85% average, you might not necessarily be offered a spot. So you'll want to make sure that you're striving to score higher than that equivalent 85% average in some programs that are more competitive, like engineering or business. We will also require you to just prove your English language proficiency. You can do that through a test. Some of the more common tests are the Ielts. So we're looking for a 6.5 Ielts with no less than a 6. A TOEFL, a minimum 86 with no less than a 20 in each component. And of course, there are a few waiver options depending on the type of curriculum that you're completing. For anyone who is university ready, so you meet those admission requirements to the University of Manitoba, but perhaps you haven't completed an English test or you haven't scored that 6.5 IELTS, our English Language Center does offer an intensive academic English program. You can do one or more terms in the English Language Center to prepare for that English academic studies. This really does result in some really great success for our English language students once they progress to their university studies. And through our English Language Center, you can earn a conditional admission to the University of Manitoba. So it really does get you all the documentation that's required to kind of get you on the path to the University of Manitoba while going through the English Language Center. Let's talk a little bit about the University of Manitoba tuition and fees. So at the University of Manitoba, you will pay for the type and number of courses that you take. So we do have a range. It's not one set cost for each student, for all students. But the range is anywhere from around $16,000 Canadian up to $24,000 Canadian. Arts and humanities tend to be on the lower end. Science will be right around the middle, so around $19,800. And then graphic design and our School of Art tend to be on the higher end of that range. So just to give you an idea that our tuition fees will be somewhere in there Canadian per year. We also encourage students to set aside around $3,000 each year for textbooks and other supplies. That will make sure that you're getting your health insurance and you're paying for your library fees, getting all the supplies that you need for school in advance. We don't want to have students come with any unexpected costs throughout the school year. So, you'd set aside your living costs and your tuition and fees and what you'll need here so that you don't have those, exorbitant costs come up throughout the year. We do help to offset some of those costs through our fabulous entrance scholarship program. So our entrance scholarships are merit-based. So for those of you with high academic averages applying to the University of Manitoba, you may earn some entrance scholarships in the $1,000 to $3,000 Canadian range. It does depend on the courses that you're taking and the overall GPA that you get in those senior level courses. You don't have to apply for these particular scholarships. So we will automatically calculate these scholarships as part of your application for admission, as long as you apply by our March 1st deadline. So this is really great for those of you who are preparing for that final year next year. Make sure that you get that application in that time frame from that October to March 1st time frame. And there's lots of ways for you to stay connected and learn more. It's great to hear from me, but I'm a generalist at the University of Manitoba. I really do specialize in that transition to coming to the University of Manitoba. But you probably want to hear from, students. You might want to hear from program specialists in some of the subject areas that you are interested in. And so taking advantage of some of our opportunities throughout the year to connect with University of Manitoba staff and students is a great opportunity. So we do have virtual campus tours on a weekly basis. We have a series of online information sessions, and those come and go throughout the whole year. So I would always encourage you to check those out. And then we do offer some open house opportunities, generally in October and February. Of course, those have been exclusively virtual for the last couple of years. We are very hopeful that we will be transitioning back to some in-person recruitment for the upcoming year. But of course, we know how being able to offer some opportunities virtually has been able to connect you and I much better over this past couple of years. And so we'll continue offering some virtual opportunities as we move forward throughout the year. So before we open up to questions, I'd just like to take a quick moment to showcase our beautiful campus so you can see a little bit more, and then we'll talk further in a few minutes. I always love watching that video because it reminds me of how vibrant and diverse our campus is. We've been working from home for the last number of years. I just recently returned to the office, which has been great because, like I said, it's just such a wonderful campus. So it always gives me warm feelings seeing that video. So thank you for your time. I do see there's some chatter here. Okay, great question about how we pay tuition fees. Thank you for that. Tuition fees are calculated after course registration. So there's a whole year of events basically leading up to your starting your classes at the University of Manitoba. You go through the application cycle. We don't actually have any deposits on most of our programs. So there's no specific deposit that you have to pay to the University of Manitoba when you accept your offer. What happens is in July, you'll register for the courses that you're going to take in the fall and winter term, for example. After you register for courses is when your tuition fees will be assessed. So the exact amount that you will pay will be available in your student account in August. And then there are 2 fee payment deadlines. You can pay it all at the beginning. If you have the funds, we recommend just paying for it and getting that out of the way. But you can also split up that into 2 fee payment installments. So the first fee installment would be usually within the first month of classes, so near the beginning of October. So you have from August until October to pay the first installment. And then the second installment is due usually the beginning of February. Great question about transitioning from University 1 into second year at the University of Manitoba. So many students begin their studies in University 1. While in University 1, you can take any first year courses. So you have access to all of the first year courses at the University of Manitoba as a University 1 student. Then what happens is usually within the first several months, students will meet with academic advisors. So we have academic advisors who are there to help support you throughout your degree to make sure that you are, meeting your future degree requirements, to make sure that they're addressing the questions that you might have. We have career counselors at the University of Manitoba. They put on workshops. They also do one-on-one career advising to really make sure that what you're doing throughout your degree is aligning well with your future career paths. So usually within those first, couple months, at least that first term in your first year university, you'll get a sense about where you want to focus your studies after year 1. If you decide to go into program science or arts, there's no separate application. You would simply, at the end of your first year, you would simply log into your student account and declare your major in arts or science. So you would declare your major in psychology or sociology, computer science, or mathematics. If you decide that you want to go into a competitive program, then you'd be applying for admission into second year of business or engineering, architecture, nursing, for example. So you would be applying for your second year, and your application into those programs would be based on your university performance. So let's say you're thinking about going into nursing after your first year. Well, throughout that first year, you'll apply for admission into nursing. Those applications generally will open up in November, and you'll have until around March timeframe, give or take a little bit, to apply. Some programs are a little bit later, some are a little bit earlier. And then you would be basing that admission into nursing on your university performance.
Thank you, Carrie, for for the presentation. I believe after this presentation, hope many participants will make University of Manitoba as top list to study abroad. So maybe I will continue for the question. You can take a breath first.
Sure.
You can take a breath. Maybe you have water. So next question is from Joanne. Hi, thank you for your presentation. Just want to make sure, does the University of Manitoba have a master program?
Absolutely. We have a wide range of master and PhD programs. I represent undergraduate programs, but of course I have some general working knowledge of the master's programs here at the University of Manitoba. The nice feature, I'm just going to put a link in the chat here, because each of our programs at all levels have a very specific a program page, and there's details about the program, there's details about the admission requirements and what you need to do on each of these pages. So I'm just going to put a link to that right here in the chat for anyone who's interested in exploring those master and PhD programs. You're welcome, Joanne.
Maybe Joanne, would you like to open your on your mic? Maybe you would like to have a discussion with Miss Carrie? Maybe would you like to ask the requirement for your program interest? You can on mic actually. Miss Joanne, hello. Oh, thank you, but I will read it first. All right,
Okay.
then. I will go to the next question from Daniel Mark. Do you have a UX design program? So Daniel Mark is still high school, so you can offer him the undergrad.
Can you, what type of design programs exactly are you thinking of?
Okay, Daniel, would you like to on your mic?
Yeah, I'm thinking of UX program, so it's user experience.
Okay, so like our computer science program has several different specializations within. I'll just read them off to you because I'll probably, like computer systems, human computer interaction, computer graphics, of course, network and security, software engineering, web-based systems. We also have a new data science program. So I'm not sure if that is exactly what you're thinking about, but let me just give you some opportunities to explore a little bit here. Of course, this one here is computer science, Daniel, that might help. Why don't you take a look at that and then see if that's along the lines of what you're thinking of? And then maybe we can chat a little bit more.
Daniel, do you have any question would you like to ask to Miss Carrie?
I think that's it for now. I think I'm gonna have a look on the link for now.
All right, then. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And then go to the next question. Do you have any career service for international students to find a job?
Yeah, we have a career center at the University of Manitoba. It's open for all students at all levels. The main feature of career services is for to help students prepare for their future career. So there's workshops and career advisors and all sorts of different opportunities. They put on career fairs as well, but they also post, of course, part-time jobs. So that is a great place for you to go and look for part-time employment. There's lots of opportunities at the University of Manitoba for part-time employment. It's a really convenient way to get some part-time hours and to build that Canadian working experience as well. And they'll also help with resume writing and preparing for interviews. So it's a really beneficial support system there.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Carrie. We can go to the next question. From Rifai. Hello, Rifai. Maybe would you like to on your mic to have a discussion with Ms. Carrie?
Okay, Miss. Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is, what is the requirement to be accepted in University of Manitoba, especially in Faculty of Law? And could you tell me deeply about Faculty of Law, maybe the achievement or something else, because I'm a social program.
Okay, so law at the University of Manitoba is 2 years after. Most students will first complete a degree. It's not required for you to complete a degree before you go into law, but you do have to have at least 2 years of university experience before you can go into law school. Now, law doesn't require any particular courses. So those first couple of years of university can be in any coursework that you're interested in. I usually recommend students explore, courses and subject areas that you're really interested in, that you're going to do well in. Of course, some might consider social sciences like sociology, philosophy. I find there's a lot of debating in philosophy. That's a great introduction. Literature, there's of course a future in law. There will be lots of reading, writing, reviewing, that type of thing. They will have some standardized test requirements for you to eventually apply into law school. So there's something called the LSAT that's required, and that's a standardized test here in Canada. So a few things to keep in mind. Certainly, I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, but the study of law at the University of Manitoba is Canadian law. So really, if you're thinking about working and having a future career in Canada as a lawyer, then this is a good program for you. It might open up doors for other avenues, but really the focus is on Canadian law. So keep that in mind as you're progressing through your studies. So the first thing you'll want to do is really think about the types of subject areas that you're most interested in. You can start your university degree there. As I mentioned, after 2 years of university, then you can be applying into law school. Law school is 2 years of concentrated programming to get you ready and set to go. And then, of course, after you graduate, you have to, meet guidelines and put in so many hours and things like that in order to practice law in Canada. But certainly there's an avenue. There's no restrictions to international students in our programs in that regard.
Thank you. Maybe Pawahi, would you like to add something about this law program in Canada?
Yeah, I think what Mrs. Carey already told us is perfect. But probably Miss Carey can also explain how many more years to study after the second year in law.
So most students, I would say, would complete law in 6 years. Generally speaking, you can do it in a little bit shorter. You can do it in 4.5, 5 years. 5 years-ish. But most students will earn a degree first. That's just common. Once you get started, once you work towards an arts degree, you tend to want to finish and complete that degree before you apply into law. So most students are doing either a 3-year degree or a 4-year degree, and then you're applying into law. That's 2 years. So that's either, 5 years or 6 years total. After law school, there's a certain number of hours that you have to put in. You would do that with a law firm. So that would be part of your education. That would be part of getting your meeting your requirements in order to practice law in Canada.
Okay, I think Pak Rifai already understand, right?
Hello, Pak Rifai.
I got it.
All
Okay,
right.
perfect.
Thank you. We can go to the next question from Natasha. For your master program, do you require that my bachelor's degree is in the related field of study?
That's a good question. That would depend on the program. Do you know what program you're interested in, Joanne?
Sorry, Natasha. Natasha,
Oh,
would you
Natasha,
like
I'm
to
sorry.
on your mic? No problem.
Hi, Miss. Could
Hi.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so currently I just got bachelor's degree in international relations, and I'm very interested in taking data science or computer science for my master.
I think probably just an undergraduate degree would be required. It wouldn't need to be specialized, but let me take a quick peek. So our data science program right now is just at the undergraduate level, but it's fairly new. I suspect that eventually it will open up at the graduate level. But I'm just looking at computer science here. And it says for some of its programs, it does require it to be in a related field like computer science. They do have some pre-master's programs available for you to explore. I'm just going to put a link here to the graduate program page. I'm sorry, I don't have all the details about the graduate programs. It's just not my area of expertise, so I don't want to give any false information. But I just looked at that page that I just put a link in the chat, and it does look like they do require the you to have an undergrad in a similar subject area.
Mungkin Kak Natasha nanti akan kami bantu setelah sesi ini berakhir, kita bisa konsultasi secara pribadi. Nanti akan kami bantu untuk memberikan informasi mengenai requirement, persyaratan, dan lain sebagainya. Maybe Miss Carey, after this session, I will help Natasha to find the requirement and the other information about the data science or computer sciences master.
Perfect.
All right. We can go to the next question. Oh, this is a good question. What is the minimum wage in Manitoba? Is it hard to find a part-time job there, or a full-time job as a fresh graduate?
Great question, Daniel. Thank you. Our minimum wage is around $13 or so right now in Manitoba. Our unemployment rate is quite low, so lots of job opportunities, lots of folks who are looking for work are getting work. And most international students who are looking for part-time jobs are getting work. They aren't always necessarily in your field. That's a little bit trickier. That's a little bit more specialized and hard to do. But getting part-time work tends to be something that's quite common and that most students are doing, not only to offset the cost of university, but also to get that Canadian work and experience. That's so important as well. In terms of full-time employment after graduation, that definitely varies by industry quite a bit. But our graduates are quite successful. I'm just thinking of a couple of key pieces of information that I know, like computer science students, for example. I mentioned earlier that the average, the minimum wage in Manitoba is about $13 an hour. Our computer science students who do co-op, their average salary is close to $20 an hour. So that gives you some context for what you might expect if you were to get some employment, in particular through our co-op program, because then you'd be able to get work and experience in that industry. And then, of course, anytime you're able to earn some work experience while you're going to school, that's going to open up so many opportunities for you post-graduation. So of course it builds those connections, but just being able to have that type of experience on your resume, that's going to set you apart from other students. So I don't have the specific stats, but certainly being able to get some working experience while you're a student is going to help improve your opportunities post-graduation for those employment opportunities, both here in Manitoba and across Canada as well.
I think let me just add on that. I think I have recently I read one article about University of Manitoba. Their employment rate based on last year, 2021. Most of graduate students, they get a job within 6 months, and the employment rate is about 98.5%. So actually it's very high. And I would say that it would not be any issue with the support from the college and the university with your, I would say, job hunting. So just prepare and get yourself ready for the interview.
Exactly.
Thank you, Tracy. Baik, ada lagi yang mungkin ditanyakan? Maybe with Tracy or Pak Wahyu, do you have any statement would you like to add?
Yeah, thank you. Jadi, it's probably easier for me to just speak in bahasa Indonesia. Manitoba ini sangat bagus ya, harganya seharga college, tapi dia kualitasnya hebat sekali, top 15 di Kanada. Ini sebetulnya disebabkan oleh subsidi dari pemerintah provinsinya yang sangat besar sekali, sehingga kita masih bisa menikmati subsidi tersebut. Bukan berarti kalau murah itu murahan ya, kalau yang mahal itu pasti kualitas bagus. Tidak, itu sebetulnya lebih kepada subsidi dari pemerintah provinsinya masing-masing, sehingga bersyukur kita kalau bisa beli yang murah dengan kualitas yang sama ya. Untuk apa kita beli 2 apel yang kualitas sama tapi lebih mahal, mendingan cari yang lebih murah. Kemudian Winnipeg itu sangat bagus ya untuk tempat kondisi untuk belajar, sangat kondusif sekali. Tadi sudah disebutkan juga bahwa meskipun kota kecil sebesar kota Bogor ya, jumlah penduduknya hampir sama, itu mendapatkan pekerjaannya juga tidak terlalu sulit ya, bahkan employment rate-nya istilahnya hampir 100%, 98% sekian. Artinya dalam 6 bulan biasanya lulusan dari sana memang bisa mendapatkan pekerjaan. Begitu. Dan yang paling penting lagi, biasanya anak-anak maunya ke Kanada itu biar nanti bisa menjadi berimigrasi ke sana, maka lewat provincial nominee itu Manitoba sangat mendukung ya, sangat mudah untuk mendapatkan status permanent resident di sana. Itu mungkin tambahan dari saya. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Wahyu, Tracy, or Miss Carrie. Would you like to add something before we are closing?
I just wanted to thank everyone for your time today. I know you probably have other things that you could be doing on a Saturday night. I know it's raining for most of you, but I do appreciate you taking the time. I love the questions, so I encourage you whenever you have these opportunities. It's great to be able to interact back and forth with you. I hope to someday be able to do this in person, but it really is nice to hear back from you. So I am going to put my contact info in the chat for undergraduate inquiries. So I'll leave that there for anyone who does have any specific questions. But of course, I encourage you to just connect with your counselors here today to help you with the process. But I'm glad to just if anything comes up, just what is it like in Winnipeg, or what is it like in Manitoba, or what are the specific requirements for this program that I'm interested in? I'm certainly available to help support you. So I'll put that in there. Again, that's for undergraduate inquiries. For your graduate inquiries, talk to your counselors, take a look at some of those program pages, because they do have some specific contact info for which department to go to for your inquiries there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Carrie. So
Yeah,
next
thank
is
you.
Tracy.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Tasya and Wahyu, for having me today. And of course, I would like to thank you, all of you, to be here today to spend your Saturday night with us. I hope that today the section is useful and give you a lot of information, but it could be a bit overwhelming to you because there are a lot of information right now. And if you need to find out more information, please feel free to contact the Salak Education. They are there in Indonesia. They will help you with the admission process, not only about finding the right school, they can help you with, in terms of requirement, with the study permit application. And of course, the University of Manitoba will be one of the options for you. And we are here to help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. Baik teman-teman, karena waktu kita yang terbatas, info session hari ini akan saya tutup. Salak Education berterima kasih banyak atas partisipasinya dan antusias yang bertanya pada malam hari ini. Jangan lupa untuk tetap update informasi mengenai kuliah di luar negeri, ada sosial media kita, dan mungkin kalau ada ingin diskusi lebih lanjut, ingin konsultasi lebih lanjut, bisa di WhatsApp saja, atau nanti boleh juga cek beberapa artikel kita di website kami www.kuliahkanada.com. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much for Miss Carrie for sharing a wonderful information about University of Manitoba, of course. Dan webinar series ini masih berlanjut hingga hari Minggu besok. Jadwal selanjutnya adalah info session dari Ontario Technology University. Di jam yang sama, kita akan mulai di jam 8 malam. Sekali lagi, terima kasih banyak. Once again, thank you very much for Carrie, Tracy, and Pak Wahyu. Have a good day and stay safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Bye. Stay
Good
safe.
night.
Bye. Bye.